Hello dear Geomusica users and welcome to this new tutorial on Geomusica and Ableton Live 10. So let's start by opening from the folder that you have downloaded the Geomusica process, and this will open a series of 3 processes. The first one is the UI, Geomusica UI, and the second one is Geomusica Engine, and the third one will be Geomusica Render. Once all the 3 processes are opened, let me just switch to window mode so you can more easily see what I'm doing. Yeah, you can actually change the window mode from full screen, because Geomusica is defined to start in full screen, but you can change to window mode by using this button here on the Geomusica Render. So the first thing that you want to do is to install TD Ableton, if you haven't. So TD Ableton is a tool developed by Ivan Del Sol that is has a purpose of connecting Ableton and Touch Designer in the most powerful way, and it has been integrated into the Geomusica system for that purpose. So the first thing that you will need to do is to press the TD Ableton button, and this will bring up the preferences for TD Ableton. And if you go to the utilities page and if you press install, sorry, you should check if you have more than one live install. You should check which one you want to use. But yeah, if you press install, it will ask, oh, make sure live is closed before installing. Yes, it's closed, so confirm. And you should get this message: TD Ableton install successful. So further instructions: if you haven't already, add the Touch Designer control script in Live's link MIDI. So let's do that. What's Live Link MIDI? So Live, we can close the preferences now. Live Link MIDI is actually a preference page for Ableton. Now I will be opening Ableton 10 template. It's on the folder called Ableton, and yep. So let's go to yeah, Ableton 10 template. And now we should go to the options or preferences of Ableton 10 and add the MIDI script for the control surface Touch Designer, which has been installed by the automatic process of TD Ableton. So let's just go to options, preferences, and I've already set it here, but I'll show you guys. You should have none here, any type of space, and this will bring up the message from TD Ableton requesting connection. So this is the connection. So you just go to this menu and select Touch Designer, and that's it. You don't need to set input or output or anything. So once that's done, you can check in the master track that you have a connected system, because it's yellow there and it says connected. And I will ask you for now to don't change any parameter here for now. Especially do not turn on the broadcast for now. And the transport, you can leave it on or off, it doesn't matter. So once that's done, you have Geomusica and Ableton connected. So let's just navigate a little bit around the tracks of the template. So the first group of tracks is called sounds, and I'm actually using some library, user library, standard factory library of Ableton instruments. But what we should see here is that we have in all tracks of sound, we have a note control section and we have an instrument. Okay, so note control is actually for quantization if you want, and for controlling the note length independently from Geomusica. So in Geomusica you have the temperament and duration section, where you can actually select if you have endless notes or finite notes, and if you want a maximum duration, a fixed duration for all the notes, or if you want a pattern or random minimum and maximum. So yeah, if you use on the sound group on each layer, if you use the note control device and if you set the note length on, this will bypass the length of the notes. Sometimes this is useful for experimenting with with note creation directly in live. So quantization is nice also for more rhythmics, techno, and whatever electronic music you're into. So quantization is also nice. For now, let's just leave this off. And yeah, each track is assigned to a different channel. So GM Musica automatically sends notes through MIDI from layer 1 to channel 1, from layer 2 to channel 2, so on and so forth. So you have the possibility of using 15 layers. Layer 16 has a special function that I will not be covering now, but it's connected to layer link. But yeah, so the template comes with 6 layers. You can use either 6 or less or more. If you decide to change the number of layers, the only thing you need to do is to assign a new MIDI channel on the sound track, actually create a new track and assign channel 7, for instance. And you should also change on the settings group. So you can see you have 6 layers of settings and 2 extra ones. These 2 extra ones, I will ask you not to change anything, because master tempo is a layer with only one device to control the transport from live to GM Musica, so leave this one alone. And master controller, it's actually connected to some of the settings that are not layer related, so the settings in the top section of the UI. So yeah, these ones are also definable. You can use different settings if you want. And the other 6 layers are the standard setting for the template. You can actually change the number of layers, as I was explaining, just by duplicating one of the layers. TD Ableton will warn you that the name is the same and will try to fix this. You can auto-fix, no problem. But you should just call it layer 7, of course. So layer 7, and the other thing that you need to change when you add layers is the name of the device. So you should change it to G7. So now we have a new layer of GM Musica, and you just need to change the number of layers on the UI to 7, and there you go. That's your new layer. You can actually already see that it's connected directly to the GM Musica system. From Ableton, we can see here the settings in the UI, change the settings in the Ableton section. And yeah, so you can go until 15 layers by using this process. Don't forget to change the name of the device, change the name of the layer, and actually add a new, let's duplicate this one, and yes, autofix please. We call it 7 and change it to channel 7. So that's it. That's the only thing that you need to do to add layers. Right now, let's just delete this and check the rest of the system. So the sound group is just for receiving MIDI and transforming MIDI into music, into sounds actually. And the settings group, it's for actually generating the settings that will control the UI, that will control the render and the engine to generate the notes. So settings for geometry, sounds for sounds in music. So on each layer you got this device. This device has all the parameters that we have on the bottom section of the UI of GM Musica. They are all connected and they are all bidirectional, so you can just check here, and you can change directly here, and you can change directly here, doesn't matter. So you can drive, oh, I forgot to change the number of layers to 6 here. Okay, you can drive the the parameters from whatever you prefer. You can also use a Ableton push if you have one. I would recommend this for performance. For composition, I think the UI is best, but you can choose whatever you want. And what happens is that any setting that you define here will be available for presetting on the layers. So let's just check how is that done. You can do it manually if you want. You can just generate an empty clip here, and you can go to envelopes and the device name G1 and the parameter name. So let's see, copies. So now I'm going to change, okay, now I want to 12 copies here, and then I want it to go until 2 copies there, and maybe, I don't know, 15 copies there. Okay, and then if you press play, you can see that the parameter gets animated directly on the values. So this is one way of doing presets. I would not recommend this way. This is actually not the best way. I think that the best way would be, okay, I will do something here, and once I'm happy about whatever shape I'm doing here, I will generate a preset directly here. So there is a way to do that, and that's called the scene capture button. And it's still a bit fiddly sometimes, but I would recommend you to just, before doing a scene capture, just use the stop button first, and this will run a script in GM Musica that will ensure that the communication between the two softwares is actually in sync. And then you can press scene capture, and it will automatically do a process of duplicating the first scene, turning on the scene automation record button, and doing a small snapshot of one keyframe only for each parameter on every layer. So this will make a scene capture of all the layers that you are changing here on the UI. So now if I go to one of the presets, now I changed all the 6 layers by launching a scene, but if I go to the new one I generated, I'll go back to the exact scene that I was generating. So in terms of composition, this is very useful because you can actually generate different compositions by progressing and doing scene capture like this. Now another scene goes here, it press record, it generates a snap, and then it's back to operation mode. So now you can see I'm changing from this to this. So it's an easy way to generate presets, and I think it's the best way for you guys to do fast compositions. I would recommend you to just rename to whatever you like. Be descriptive. It's always nice. So triangles. Oh, sorry, triangles. And I don't know, squares, maybe squares. Yeah. Okay, so triangles and squares. Nice. So this is the process of generating scene capturing directly from GM Musica. You also can, if you want, record improvisations. You can just change to arrangement. Just press record and just record the whole thing. So anything that you do, actually you should turn on the automation record. Anything that you'll do here will get recorded, and okay, maybe this is not what I was intending because I'm recording directly to the clips. Yeah. Okay, no, sorry, ignore that. Just keep in mind that you can just start recording. I think this will not work intendedly. Okay, let's see if it has recorded. Layer 1, yes, there you have it. So now if I just press playback, it will play back the recording, and I can just keep arranging and generating compositions from here. And if you are doing the arrangement type of composition, I would recommend a trick for actually composition, time-based composition, which is if you select a group, and if you just select a section like this, I can just copy this section here and paste this section there. So now I have like a copy-paste system just for jumping between different parts of the composition. Don't forget that you should press the button that is called re-enable automation every time that you press stop and play again, because this is a way of keeping things in sync between GM and Ableton. But in arrangement mode, I know it's kind of a pain. I will try to sort this out later. But right now, I think it's a way of making sure that everything works. So when you press stop, this button will pop orange, and before you press play, you should just click it, and then you are reading the actual arrangement. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Don't forget to keep master tempo track alone. Let tempo run by itself, don't worry about it, and please do not delete it or change it, or change the name, or change the device name. Don't touch it at all, just leave it there. And also the same thing goes for TD master, so leave it there, do not change anything, and keep the name of the devices with the number and G and the number of the layer, and that's it, and you're good to do whatever compositions you want. I hope you have enjoyed. Stay tuned for more Geomusica tutorials. Bye. Stop recording.